Sound. You're taking sound from the same thing? Oh, okay. Good afternoon all, members of the media and senior public officers who are here. Good afternoon to the listening and viewing public. This is the continuation of the Tropical Storm Isaac media briefing. And at this point, let me invite the Senior Meteorological Officer, Mr. Marshall Alexander, to give us an update on the weather situation. Marshall.
Good afternoon to all. Okay, the 5 a.m. update. At 5 a.m., the center of tropical storm, at 5 p.m., sorry, the center of tropical storm Isaac was located in the latitude 15.4 degrees north and longitude 56.6 degrees west. And 15.4 degrees north is exactly at the latitude of Dominica, because Dominica is at 15.4 degrees north and 61.4 degrees west. That makes the system at about 315 miles exactly east of Dominica. The system is moving towards the west at a forward speed of 20 miles per hour, and maximum sustained winds remains at 60 miles per hour. Tropical storm force winds extend outwards up to 175 miles from the center. On this track, the center of the system is expected to move across Dominica by midday tomorrow. However, we're expecting to begin feeling the effects of this system by tonight. So feeder bands from the system is expected to generate moderate to heavy showers and thunderstorm activity across Dominica beginning tonight.
Thank you very much, Marshall, for the update on Tropical Storm Isaac. This afternoon, we are happy to have the Honorable Minister for National Security with us, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore. And at this time, we will call him to the podium to address us. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cecil Shillingford. It's an honor to be in your company, a great Dominican. Thank you very much to wonderful listeners. I want to recognize also the Deputy Commissioner of Police and Superintendent of Police, Mr. Valentine. I also recognize the Chief Med Officer and the coordinator of our disaster preparedness in Dominica, and the chairman of the shelters. And I want to also recognize the presence of members of the media. Good afternoon, and a special good afternoon to our listeners in Dominica, and those of you who continue to pray for us, listening and watching overseas. I want you to say that the most fundamental responsibility of the state, especially within a democratic space, is the safety of its people. And that responsibility becomes even more fundamental when the country is threatened by a natural disaster, in that case, Tropical Storm Isaac. We know the difficulty that our experts have in predicting weather events with absolute certainty. In that regard, the Chief of Police, who is charged with the responsibility of advising the government on security issues, has advised that His Excellency the President be written to in order to request the issuing of a state of emergency from midnight today, Wednesday, September 12, 2018, to noon on Friday, September 14th, 2018. His Excellency the President was written to and has issued an order, a curfew order, and that curfew takes effect from again midnight tonight, that is to say Thursday, the 12th day of September, Wednesday, sorry, that is to say Wednesday, the 12th day of September 2018 to noon Friday, September 14th, 2018. And the curfew is island-wide. Again, island-wide. There are some who may speak to the freedom of movement rights of the people of Dominica, quite rightly so. But I think a thin line has to be drawn between the national security interests, the safety of the people of Dominica, and in that regard, I think we all have a collective responsibility in ensuring that we keep ourselves safe first. So the issuing of this curfew order has to be seen, therefore, within that perspective of allowing the people of Dominica to keep themselves safe. The other issue has to do with ensuring that members of the essential services, DOMLEC, the WASCO, the police, the fire, the health practitioners, etc., if the needs arises and have to be called out for duty, can do so unimpeded. We have to learn from our past and move forward as a country. The Deputy Commissioner of Police will speak to the conditions of the curfew. And I want to just give the people of Dominica the assurance that the government of Dominica has provided the police with all the resources required, and on short notice, any such request that has been made to the Ministry of Justice, and the Prime Minister never hesitated to actually assist in that regard. I want to call on all Dominicans to continue to observe the rule of law. I think the Commissioner of Police, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, should also speak about curfew passes, that you should not be out. As the Minister for National Security and Compliance, I have with me, with my photograph, my curfew pass, and so to the Prime Minister. So in that regard, therefore, if you do not belong to, the essential services, and you do not have a curfew pass, please stay indoors. We all should continue to pray for the Lord's blessing, to continue to protect and to guide this wonderful country, Dominica. I want to again express my gratitude and commendation to all of you who have been working, the Session Shilling Fund, and the coordinator, Mr. Fitzroy, Pascal, and the others, the Chief Med Officer, and others who have been working, and members of the media. So, I know a number of persons have been asking about the curfew. For matter of fact, I went to a place to buy, because I myself have to be resilient too, to buy some lamps, and somebody asked me, when is the curfew? I was to say they're expecting that. So I now call on the Deputy Commissioner of Police, with the permission of the chairperson, to speak to the details of the conditions and any other appropriate interventions you want to make. Thank you very much.
Let me recognize the presence of the Minister of Justice, Immigration and National Security, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, members of subcommittees of NAPO, Superintendent Valentine, the media. Good afternoon. In response to the advent of Tropical Storm Isaac, the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force is ready and are prepared to provide the relevant security and safety support as far as is practicable in the event of the passage of the storm. In keeping with Section 2 of the Emergency Powers Act, number 1502 of the Laws of Dominica of 1990, and in the interest of national security, for the safety and security reasons, the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force has written to the Honorable Minister of Justice, Immigration and National Security, requesting for His Excellency the President of Dominica to institute measures that are reasonably required for the passage and the impact of the storm on the Commonwealth of Dominica. We expect the storm to impact sometime in the early morning of Thursday, the 13th of September 2018. The request is for the declaration of a state of emergency and curfew. The hours for the curfew are from 12 midnight on Wednesday, September 12, 2018, to 12 noon on Friday, September 14, 2018. The state of emergency and the implementation of the curfew are necessary to safeguard life and property, to protect the people from themselves, and to allow state agencies to provide the necessary services to the citizens of the country. The curfew is issued in keeping with the following emergency powers, as stipulated under Emergency Powers Act, Chapter 1502 of the Laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica of 1990. Section 2C, to impose on any person any restriction in respect of his employment of business. That is, for all licensed shops to be closed during the curfew hours, that is from 12 midnight on Wednesday, the 12th September 2018, to 12 noon on Friday, September 14th, 2018. Section 2D, to prohibit any person from being out of doors as may be specified, that is from 12 midnight on Wednesday, September 12th, 2018, until 12 noon on Friday, September 14th, 2018, except under the authority of a written permit granted by the Chief of Police. Section 2F, to prohibit any person from traveling except in accordance with permission given to him by the Chief of Police. Section 2G, to require any person to quit any place or area or not to visit any place or area. So these are the stipulations of the curfew order. The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force will have officers on duty to enforce the curfew, and persons who are found in violation of the curfew order will be arrested. I want to emphasize that persons who are found in violation of the curfew order will be arrested. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chief, and I hope the general public takes note, because it's going to be very important that everybody stays indoor as much as possible. At this time, let me call on the Superintendent. You're not okay. Superintendent Valentine.
All right, good afternoon. Let me recognize the Honorable Minister of National Security, Deputy Chief of Police, members of NIPO, members of the media. I am Richmond Valentine, Superintendent of Police, of responsibility for operations within the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. Well, you've heard it, the curfew hours have been set. So from an operational standpoint, The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force Disaster Preparedness and Response Plan has been activated, and as a consequence, police officers will be deployed island-wide at strategic locations in an effort to ensure that the environment is safe and secure for our citizens. As the Deputy told you, the violation of the curfew order is strict liability. So my advice to persons who are non-essential worker, or once you do not have a valid curfew pass, you ought not to be on the streets anywhere on the island of Dominica. So for the next 2 days, once you do not have this valid pass, all you need to do is stay at your home with your family, and that, in my mind, that is the safest place you should be while we weather the storm. So there's no need for you to be on the streets anyway. My advice to motorists, again, park your vehicles on your premises until the all clear is given. So from midnight tonight, we should have no one on the streets walking or driving, except if you have a valid curfew pass. Police officers will be, as I said, deployed. So we are going to have patrols island-wide to ensure that the curfew is enforced. So generally, the curfew pass is from your home to work and from work to home. The curfew pass is not for you to visit friends and family and to go to the bars. All right? If you are caught, the curfew will be confiscated. The curfew pass, sorry, will be confiscated. It's from home to work and from work to home. And it's for your own safety. Yeah, and this curfew is for your own safety. It's for the safety of citizens. So while the storm passes, you are at a shelter somewhere, or you are at your home because you believe your home is safe, just remain there until the all clear is given. While the police officers are out there to ensure that persons' property and the security of the state is well taken care of. So while you are at your home, at your various homes, seeking the necessary safety, we are there to ensure that all goes well. All right, so we're going to have a number of checkpoints at various locations, so you won't be able to access anywhere. So you don't think you know Roseau or other places in the country better than us. So we have checkpoints at all various locations, so you won't be able to access anywhere. So please, you're just wasting gas, just stay at your homes and weather the storm. And that is in your own interest. All right, so men are highly motivated. We are in full force. We've called all officers who are on leave, so we are in full force. Well motivated, and we are ready to execute based on our operational plan. So again, I'm soliciting the support of the public. You've worked well with us for burial. We're expecting you to even work better this time to ensure that our lovely Dominica remains safe and secure as we weather Tropical Storm Isaac. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Valentine. That was loud and clear. And I recall for Hurricane Burial, I had to go through 4 checkpoints to get to my home. So it was very serious, and I was very happy about it too. So it will be either the same or maybe even tighter. So stay at your home, you have no business out there. There are some people who may have to move, and they have a few hours to do so, 6 or 8 hours, whatever. 6 hours to get to shelters. So I'll now call on the chairman of the shelters committee to speak to that and indicate when shelters will be open from this evening, so that people can get to a shelter before the storm arrives and before the curfew arrives. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I want to recognize the presence of the Honorable Minister for Justice, Immigration and National Security, our friends from the Dominica Police Force, Office of Disaster Management, the media, Dominican friends. Let me first of all highlight the significance of shelter management in terms of those adverse events. Of course, importantly, the primary function of shelter management is to protect lives and to a very less extent property. But in that case, it's really protecting lives, and hence the importance of protecting the lives of our Dominican citizens. Hence, the state has provided the avenue for persons to be protected by means of shelters. In fact, earlier this morning, I informed the Dominican population and those abroad that we had identified 108 shelters to serve communities island-wide. We had since given the media houses the revised list of those shelters, and I'm pretty certain as we go through, earlier today, I in fact listened to one media house, in fact, outlining some of the shelters, so that is good. We also went further we have placed the list of emergency shelters at the Government of Dominica website, and that can be found at the front page of the Dominica website, and that is www.dominica.gov.dm, and that's on the front page for those of you who want to access the list of emergency shelters. In view of the curfew that is imposed from midnight, Wednesday, midnight to 12th of September, I am now I've already put them on alert, but I'm now informing the general public that all shelters will be open at 6 p.m. As I speak, it's exactly 6 p.m. All shelters in Dominica will be opened at 6 p.m. It means, therefore, the population has 6 hours, less than 6 hours, 5 hours and 59 minutes to get to those shelters. In my view, this is sufficient time for people to get at the shelters. And this thing about people coming late minute and this thing about people coming 12:05, I am saying it will not be the responsibility of the shelter, the NIPO shelter subcommittee, or the shelter managers if people find themselves knocking at the doors of a shelter at 12:01 midnight. I am making that categorically clear so that we're encouraging our people to get to those shelters between now and 11:59. You should not be close to the shelter at 11:59. You should be in the shelter by 11:59. In other words, what we are telling people, as I speak, you should have already packed your stuff and waiting. And within half an hour, we should have as many people as possible as those shelters that has been identified for them. And I want to also inform the general public that we're going to be very strict. As we said, there's always lessons learned, and we did learn some lessons from Hurricane Maria. And so we're going to be very strict. We have sought to put in strategic locations shelter rules. And some of these rules includes the do's and the don'ts. Absolutely, and let me just inform you, at the shelters, the laws of the state will be enforced. It's not because we're in emergency, the laws of the state is not there, it's there. Absolutely no weapons will be allowed. Guns, knives, ice pick, machetes, cutlass, scissors, anything of that nature will be allowed. Absolutely no smoking will take place on at the shelters. Absolutely no intake of alcohol. Neither intake nor bringing any alcoholic substance to the shelter will be allowed. We want to make this thing clear that people must understand. And we're also asking each other to cooperate. We know people, there's a lot of anxiety and there may be a lot of noise. We want people to lower the noise level because we have different people from different backgrounds. There are senior citizens who don't like so much noise. And so we're asking people to come to the shelter. Let's be cordial. Let's be responsible individuals. And let's ensure that we are each other's brother, each other's keeper, as we seek to ensure that we are all safe in this tropical storm that is approaching us. We want to also inform people that when you come to the shelters, as we say it in Dominica Local Palace, do not come with your hands swinging. You should have already had that preparation as individual, as a family. You should have had some stuff. So we are saying at least come to the shelter with some water to last you between 24. Of course, in that case, it will really be 2 days. It will really be 48 hours because, as we said, the curfew goes until
noon, I believe, on Friday. And let me just make it clear, when we say that, it means therefore, our Dominican friends, that you are supposed to be at the shelter from 12 Wednesday noon at midnight to 12 noon on Friday, unless we are so advised. Right? If there's an announcement to be made, it will be made. We want to tell people that. And when you're in a shelter, it's not that you come, you're in the shelter and you say you can take a little walk. There is no walking. The walking is within the confines of the shelter. We want to make it clear. Because as you said, the police did indicate, I don't want to use a word, but it's certainly that. Zero tolerance. And I really want to echo that as the police did as well, because it's important that we understand. You're not in a shelter to just go about roaming. All right? So we are not going to issue no pass to shelteries. I want to make it clear. We are not going to issue no pass to shelteries so you can leave your shelter, go online and come back. All persons who have accessed the shelters will remain at the shelter such time until the all clear is given or the curfew is removed. We want to make that clear. And I want to again reiterate the importance of persons coming to the shelter with stuff that will last you for 2 days. Some water, some biscuits. You can come with your lights as well. You can come with your solar lights and whatever the case may be. And at least come with some blanket or something. We know we don't want too many people coming with mattresses because of the size and the space, maybe it may not be able to take all of those mattresses. But please come with something that you can rest. The people who have medical issues, they must come with the medication. That is very important. Come with your medication. And I want as well for the general public to really cooperate with us, because we want to ensure that we can account for every single person who is at the shelter. And so we'll be doing what we call a shelter registration. So there's a form that has to be completed. And so when the shelter manager will be asking you certain questions, we want you to cooperate with them, because at the end of the day, we want to account for every single Dominican who had access to shelter during the passage of Tropical Storm Isaac. So that is very, very critical, and we want our people to understand. Again, I want to reiterate, we are going to be in the shelter from midnight to Wednesday midnight until noon, Friday, the 14th of September, until we are so advised. I want people as they go to the shelter, remember that. So don't think tomorrow morning when you get up, you can just simply leave the shelter and wander. No. You have to remain in the confines of the shelter. That's why we are saying we're encouraging people to bring stuff. Bring some items that can last you for 48 hours at least in the first instance. We really want to appeal to the general public. We want to help you. We want to help each other. And that way we can, in fact, help in ensuring that we are all safe in Dominica. I want to really categorically applaud the persons who have offered their private homes. We have had a number of persons who have offered their private homes to serve as emergency shelters at no cost to the state. And for that, we are very, I think NIPO and the subcommittee, we are very grateful for those persons who have offered. This neighborhood approach, we are welcoming it, where persons can offer their homes to take in family, friends and loved ones. I think that's a very good gesture as we move forward in becoming that sort of united force in bringing the necessary development thrust to our beautiful Dominica. So we really want to recognize that. And we're not singling out everyone, but I really want to particularly recognize the Southeastern District, the communities of Riviera Sirik, Monjon, and Bwetika and Grand Fond. We had some challenges in terms of shelters, and then we had some major meetings in the Southeast. We met with the community and, of course, importantly, the disaster management committees, and they in fact outlined, they had already had the list of persons who required to be sheltered, and they already had the individuals who had offered the homes, and all of the homes are concrete roof with basements, and they had offered the homes, and they had the list of names who would go to that home. That we felt, and we really need to recognize it. There are other areas the same thing happens. But certainly we wanted to single out the Southeast because we're overwhelmed of the fact that they were able to recognize the challenge and of course help the state to solve that challenge at no cost to the state. So that we really want to single out and say hats off to those persons. I want to say as well, we have some arrangements like in Miro, as we did in Maria, we're going to move the people. So of course, by now the people of Miro should be moving to either the John Caleb Laurent Primary School in St. Joseph or the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School. As well, we do have some challenges in the Maro area, but we had to move the people from Taro to Maro, hopefully, to Maro, sorry, hopefully at the community center. Of course, we continue to appeal to persons who feel that their homes are safe, and if they can continue to take some loved ones, please do so, a family or friend. If you take one person, you know how many people? We have almost 26,000 households. Let's say we have, given the challenges of Maria, we may have 18,000 that are really okay. If we take one person, each of us, there's almost 18,000 people that we can shelter. So I'm really appealing to the general public, those of us who still think we have the time that we need to at least help a family, help a loved one, please do so, because collectively that's how we can go in ensuring that Dominica becomes the safe haven that it's supposed to be as we approach the crisis. I want to really appeal to the general public. Please, people, adhere to the curfew. Adhere to the curfew, and we are going to do the same at the shelters. Really want everybody to be safe. Please stay at the shelters and be safe. And at the end of it all, we want to ensure that the entire population was indeed safe as we go through this Hurricane Isaac. Thank you very much, and I want to wish everybody safe as we go through this system.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Toussaint, and thanks for your good work. It is said that the reward for good work is more work, so it will be coming. People should have already determined as to whether they're going to a shelter or not. That should have been done already. But if you are late in doing so, you still have some time. And you have about 6 hours, decide and move to the shelters. We would like everybody to be in a safe place tonight. So if you think your place is not safe, move to a friend, move to a family member, move to a shelter. If you are living in any vulnerable areas, that would be areas prone to landslides, that would be close to waterways, rivers, and you're unsafe there, please move. If you're on the waterfront, that's the sea, because of storm surges, you should also move. So we're calling on the general public to take all the necessary action to ensure their safety during this time. And don't forget that the rules of the curfew apply at the shelters. So you're not immune to the curfew because you're in a shelter. At this time, I know some of us have to run. Anybody with any questions, opening up for the media? Curtis Matthew, DBS Radio.
Thank you very much, Mr.
You're directing it to whom?
Your question? The police.
Police?
Yeah, the question is, the police. I would like to find out what time will this curfew passes be available to those who need them? And the other thing is, have there been the lessons learned by the police following Hurricane Maria 1 year ago? What lessons have you learned from Maria 1 year ago?
Well, Curtis, to answer the first question, the passes should be available to persons who require them anytime from 7 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock, 6, 7, 7 o'clock tonight. So persons will be expected to go to police headquarters to pick up the passes. Yeah. In terms of lessons learned, well, obviously, Maria was sort of an eye-opener to us. We realized that unless the public supports the police, it is going to be a difficult task for us. And one of the reasons why the curfew has been imposed is to protect the public themselves, to help the public themselves, so that they themselves do not go out during the dangerous winds. They don't go sightseeing. They don't go doing the dangerous things that we saw happened during Maria. Our lessons learned is that we would now have to put in place measures early, sufficiently early, to avoid persons from being out there at a time when they're supposed to be at home or secured from the storms. So we have imposed the curfew, and that will help a long way in getting persons to protect themselves and also to assist the police in being able to protect, provide the security and safety required for all citizens and residents of Dominica.
Sorry. Yeah, the minister showed his card, his pass with his picture on it. Does that mean anybody wanting a pass must have a picture?
There are different passes that are going to be given. There are some that are permanent passes, and there are some that are temporary passes.
Okay.
So there are different types of passes. So those permanent passes would have the pictures in them. The temporary ones do not hold pictures.
And what equates the temporary and the permanent?
Well, there are persons who work with the essential services.
Okay.
That are going to be given permanent passes, and certain officials who are going to be requiring the permanent passes.
Another question for you. You said that the passes will be available at police headquarters. What if somebody from Portsmouth need a pass?
Well, there are going to be passes made available. Those persons, there are persons who are currently awaiting their passes because they're going to go out to the north. And so we have asked them to await those passes there.
So everybody need to come to Roseau. That's what you're saying? That's what this is your understanding? Sorry?
The passes are for specific people. And most of these people have already requested their passes.
I see.
And so they know what time to pick it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to ask Marshal Alexander a question, please. I just got a telephone call a little while ago, and somebody's asking, what are the people from the Met Office predicting for Dominica tonight and tomorrow? Heavy rainfall, high winds, things like that. They would like a sort of idea from Marshal as to what are you all predicting for Dominica over the next few hours?
Okay, we have the forecast valid for tonight and tomorrow. So we're expecting cloudy to overcast skies with pockets of moderate to heavy showers, scattered thunderstorms, periods of rain and gusty winds. Winds are expected to be coming from the northeast to east at about northeast to east at 25 to 50 kilometers per hour with higher gusts to near tropical storm force. And we're expecting seas to peak up to 10 feet.
Yeah, but Mr. Alexander, the question is, are you predicting heavy rainfall? Could we see very heavy rainfall in Dominica over the next few hours and very high winds? Because you've not really said that.
When I said we're expecting moderate to heavy rainfall.
Moderate to heavy, what is that?
Heavy rainfall.
Very heavy rainfall.
Heavy rainfall.
Thank you very much, sir.
And the winds could be in the region of 50 miles an hour and so on. On the question of the passes, I mean, I'm not in that business, but there are state functionaries that will be around for a while, and it's not every event that we need to go print passes for these people. So these people will have permanent passes, and other people will get temporary passes that can be discarded at the end of the exercise. And it's not everybody. I mean, if everybody is going to get a pass, then it defeats the whole purpose. Not everybody. You have to have business out there. You have to have business out there that will warrant you to get a pass. So the whole issue of passes, yeah.
Mr. Shillingford, I have another question for Mr. Glenroy Toucey, please.
Okay.
Chairman of the Shelters Committee.
Last question, because the police, they need to
Let
go.
me ask for some more time to ask a few more, sir. If
You want
would
more
permit.
time?
Yeah,
You want me
Mr.
to
Glenroy,
move 5
just ask a
minutes?
question then, please. Yeah, Mr. Toucey, you've spoken about the challenges re hurricane shelters for this upcoming system. Has the time come for Dominica to have what we call regional centers? I think I've heard the talk. Can you tell us where we are as a country as it relates to regional centers for Dominica?
Thanks for the question, but the consultant will help us on that.
Yes, Curtis, we are in advanced stage of building initially 2 regional centers, regional shelters, capacity of 150-200 people. They will be located in a centralized area, and they will be able to absorb shelterees from communities around that particular locality. It doesn't mean that we are going to abandon the smaller shelters. There will be shelters as of now in every community. But if we have a system like Maria, God forbids, and you have people still in shelter for a prolonged period, you can move these people to this regional shelter. And I think it's the thinking of the state to at least have 7 over a longer term period, so that there will be at least 1 in every district in Dominica.
Can you tell us who is funding these projects, sir? Do you have information as to who?
Yes, Curtis, I have the information. The European Union is funding the first 2 projects. You want to know where they will be? One will be in the Casabros area, and that is to serve the vulnerable people of the Kalinago territory and areas like Petit Soufriere, Good Hope, Tranto, Deepa, etc. And the other one will be in the Jimit area, that will capture not only the people of that area, but vulnerable people in the Roseau catchment area, like Fonkoli and Tarish Pit and some of these little areas.
One more. Can we get a clarification on what is happening? Is it a tropical storm or hurricane?
It is a tropical storm.
Okay, so it's not a hurricane category 1, category 2?
No. It's a tropical storm, 60 miles per hour.
Okay.
If it gets to 74, 75, then it becomes a hurricane.
Okay.
So it's still a tropical storm. It appears that it will remain a tropical storm until it dies.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, final question to Mr. Toucey. Mr. Toucey, the final question. Yes, sir.
You sure it's Toucey you want this?
Yes. Not the minister this time. No, Mr. Toucey, you said that you all, as a team, went to the southeast areas yesterday because there were some challenges with the Monjon, Rivier Cyric, and Botica. Can you tell us exactly what are the specific areas that you all dealt with yesterday during your trip?
Okay.
Because I'm told that the people in Monjon still have some challenges as we speak.
Yeah, it wasn't yesterday. The thing is, as a result of the passage of Maria, an assessment was done, and in fact 45% of the shelters, in fact for 2017 we had 140 shelters, 140. So just think of 45% of that number had either been completely destroyed or severely damaged. So it means therefore we had to seek alternative. For 2018 we had to find a mechanism to ensure that as fast as possible. One of the approaches that we use is what we call the neighborhood approach. People can take people in. We realized in the southeast we had a significant challenge. We still continue, but we were able, and you have to understand, because in Montjean, for example, there's a school that is, the entire roof is still out, right? The other building that we use as for 2018, it was also impacted. So in Montjean itself, we had no facility, so to speak. We had to rely on homes. And so we were able to talk to a few people and visit some of the homes of the persons who have agreed. As I said before, we are not going to ensure that we solve everything, especially for communities like Montjean, because, as I said, we don't have access to all of those buildings. So we are still, although we did what we had to do, we are still appealing and we're still hoping. And the comfort that we have is people had indicated to us, and a lot of people did, that they fear for their names to be included on a list because of the experiences that some people had from Maria. When people come to the people's home, they don't want to leave, they feel comfortable, people don't have their own comfort and their own relaxation and that sort of thing. And so we were able to, as far as possible. In Dominica, we were very much impressed. In fact, I said to myself, the entire population turned out. And even before we came on the meeting, they said, Mr. Toussaint, but you're talking to us on that sort of thing. Let me tell you the plan that we have. And they were able to outline their plan and who are the people and the elderly. The thing is, and I was very much pleased that in all the communities, the major approach was the elderly. They were able to identify all the elderly people who required to be moved very early and who would move them and that sort of thing. So as I said, the challenge will continue, but we are very much pleased on the progress that we have made as far as providing the avenue for persons to be sheltered in Dominica for the 2018 season. As I said, there's always room for improvement, and we will continue to seek that sort of avenue to continue to dialogue with our people to see the best way possible to ensure. Because the thing is, ultimately, we want all our people to be safe. That's the ultimate approach that we would like to take.
Okay, thank you very much. Everybody, stay safe. Those who need to go to the shelters, move right away. Hope you're carrying something with you, because there's nobody there to provide you with dinner and breakfast tomorrow morning until the state mechanism kicks in. But again, since it's a minimal storm, we do not really anticipate anything big unless people are a little frivolous with their lives. So again, thank you very much, the police, the minister, Mr. Toussaint, ODM, the media, the Met Office. Thank you very much, and would like to thank all our viewers and listeners out there for being with us. And I think that's the end of the media briefings until maybe after the event. Good night, stay safe, and thank you very much.